to lose money because Kurt just canceled Lollapalooza for $10 million.
Right. Wow. So in this intervention, if everybody around him are also heroin addicts, who's part doing this intervention?
There's
is this like an Interscope rep? Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds like a label.
In Gold Mountain, they were called.
Okay. So they do this intervention. Courtney goes down to LA. Kurt stays in Seattle. Is it a fact that this is the house where Francis?
This is on Lake Washington. They're in their house.
So this is their house.
Yes.
And there's 8 people there.
Yes. Possibly 9.
There's always so many people. Okay, so, and they're all. We can all safely assume they're all
doing
junkies.
Drugs, shooting up, drinking beers, smoking weed.
Now, is Francis? She's with her mom in LA. But she actually lives in that house with them when they're in Seattle.
They said it was cold and dreary and no furniture. They hadn't lived there that long. They had a house in the Hollywood Hills too.
Okay.
So, look,
I'm shocked. So that's why they had the 2 non-drug addict nannies, in case Child Protective Services, because to put a kid around in that situation is...
They need to have females there. That's insane.
I see.
It's insane.
Now,
they lived a dirty lifestyle, and I don't mean that in this bad way. There's a not funny, but they call it the dirty little room, where Kurt was found in the greenhouse. They say, oh, it's just a dirty little room. When they asked, like, Dylan Carlson, why didn't you look in the greenhouse for him? You were there for days. Why didn't an electrician find him? Because you wanted the electrician to find him. And you didn't want to find him because you knew where he was. But let me say this real quick. So when we get to this, we have to understand that Kurt's going to come back from Exodus rehab. Yeah. He's not sitting in the house and after people show up. They're already there when he lands. So that's part of the story, but we'll get to that. Okay. Oh, if you want to talk about the murder?
Yeah, but what does that have to do? Is that important to the story?
Yes.
The Exodus, him coming back?
Yes.
So that's why there's so many people in the house, because they're doing...
He doesn't even know they're there.
Okay.
He comes home... Look, they live a rocker lifestyle, right?
Right.
And, these are his good friends. And even the one witness, Joe, that we were going to talk about, he talks about Kurt like just an average guy. Like, he doesn't even...
Right.
When I first met him, I was fascinated by how he just talks about him like he's your neighbor, your buddy, who's a good guy. And, he wasn't a dick. And, I'm like, this is the most famous grunge rocker of all time. Yeah. Like... helped MTV become a thing, and he's just talking about, Kurt loved my band. He was a fan of mine.
Wow.
He was a drummer.
Wow.
It's awesome, man. This is one of the greatest true crime stories I've ever heard, I've ever been a part of. So, but yeah, if we want to dive into it, it's going to be dark.
Well, we definitely do.
Okay.
So you have these. So now the scene is set. Where are the 2 female nannies? The real Filipino nannies?
I believe I don't know if they're Filipino.
Yes, probably. We can safely assume.
One of them I know dated this other guy that I'm going to talk about.
What are they? Are they in that? Why are they not
in
the
LA?
house?
They're in LA.
Okay, because they're always following with the baby. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if both of them are in LA. I know one of them is for sure. She's at the Peninsula. Eric Erlinson's there. She's there. Her other dealer's there. That's what Tom Grant talks about in Soaked in Bleach. If you watch the movie Soaked in Bleach, you can YouTube it. They kind of play out this story. So anyway, she plays a game with them. Okay. So
to walk us through the night of the murder.
Okay.
Because now we have all the elements in place. Kurt gets back from rehab.
He flies back from Exodus on April 1st, and the clock's going to tick to April 2nd over midnight. He's like on a red eye. Supposedly with Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, they sit next to each other.
Okay.
So they land, whether it's 11:30, 11:50, whatever. By the time he gets to the house in the limo, it is now April 2nd. It's about 1 a.m. He comes home, and there's a bunch of people in his house.
Right.
Okay, so then now I'm setting the stage. Shooting up, playing music, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking beers.
Yep.
He's like, what's up? Now, he's not super pissed at first. Now, remember, this is a culmination of the witnesses, the statements, the authors, the investigators. This isn't just me saying it.
Got it.
This has been 6 months of my life, every minute.
Copy.
And going undercover on these people, doing Chris Todd stuff that would make your head turn backwards. Okay? So, here's the story. Comes home. He's not that pissed at first. He actually eats his last supper with Joseph Burns.
Wow.
That's who they did like a TV dinner together. out there. I can say his name. He's a great guy. He's going to make history. And we are going to protect him. And if anybody wants to mess with him, I wouldn't. I'm going to warn you.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Sorry. I have to say that. So they're kind of hanging out. Kurt most likely is going to do some drugs with them, right? You know, so, but he wants them to leave. He asks them to leave. They don't leave. Now, supposedly, per the witnesses, multiple witnesses, per some of the investigation over the years when they met these people, Kurt comes down to the basement where some of them are. They're scattered. They're not all in the basement. Says, "Get the F out of here, dude." And he kind of directs it at Dylan Carlson.
Right. Because Dylan's like kind of he's the handler.
He's the ringleader.
Yeah.
He's the ringleader.
Right.
The people there are his friends too.
Right.
Kurt turns around and is assaulted by Dylan and Daniel Clint Rich. Those two assault Kurt and they begin to shoot him up with heroin. That is pre-loaded. So this is where another sign of premeditation. Now, I'm not saying they were going to kill him in front of all these people. Maybe when they would leave, right? But it's on. It's on. It's prepped. And the witness says that.
Joe Burns says that the heroin
I'm not going to say the exact witness who says this.
Okay.
Because Joe Burns technically is not witnessing the hot shotting.
Okay.
Someone else is.
Okay.
That woman's name is Bonnie Dillard.
Okay.
And the other woman's name is Jennifer Adamson.
And have they given any testimony or just talked to you?
They have told people and given statements, yes.
So they have a rig with heroin.
I did speak to Bonnie once. I tried to help her. She's hostile witness right now.
Okay. So they have a rig with heroin already loaded.
Two of them. Both arms. One of the arms is hit twice, and I think one in the other, but one arm has multiple track wounds. But again, the pundits can say, well, of course he has track wounds. Like, they're going to do that. But
was he a shooter?
He has a lot. Yeah, he's a shooter. They have a lot of heroin in him, 1.52 milligrams per liter. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
People can die at 0.4.
Right. And he's been off of it for the last couple of days.
Yeah, kind of. That's where, look, you're going to get comments that they're going to talk about this 1.52 milligrams per liter. They're going to hone in on this, and they're going to try to tell you that, like, some heroin addict's going to come on your comments and go, I could do that.
Listen, sorry. You talk way too much about what they're going to say and criticize. Them.
Okay.
Please, give us the facts.
Sure.
Blow our minds.
Sure.
And just give it up. Give the rest over to the universe.
Sure.
Okay?
So they hot shot him. And he is we don't know if he's dead or not at this time. Okay? So through my investigation, I cannot confirm he's dead when they walk him to the greenhouse, carry him. Now, the other witness sees him be carried to the greenhouse. Okay? Eyewitness. And he could be alive in the greenhouse. Remember, when the gun goes off in his mouth, the blood comes out of the ear, and there's a puddle of blood. If he was dead for hours and hours, they wouldn't bleed, right? It'd be post-mortem. The heart's not pumping. Everything would, like, freeze up and start to atrophy, etc. So, is he dead when the gun goes off in his mouth? I don't know. He could be alive.
Right.
Okay? But he's pretty much like...
But he's incapacitated.
He's totally incapacitated.
Right.
So...
Sorry to cut you off. Is the witness statement that they carried him, they beat him up, hot-shotted him, and then carried him to the greenhouse, does that cooperate with Joe Burns?
Yes. Because Joe Burns is dating Bonnie Dillard. That's his girlfriend.
I see. And now, did you interview them together, or did you separate them to make sure that their stories, they couldn't, get together and get their stories straight first?
We have Joe Burns' full statements already on tape.
Right.
Bonnie Dillard is hostile.
I see.
So she will not come forward at this time.
Okay.
But I know from the investigation before I got involved that she had already come forward and corroborated that those people were there and that's what happened in the basement. She's not in the greenhouse.
Right.
She's still in the basement.
Yeah, but that's important because, you want to have at least two, if I'm a jury member and I want to have two witnesses saying the same thing.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Away from, and look, remember, Gold Mountain and Geffen are going to lose.